Hey, Merp, I'm going to give you a presentation. I got 11 minutes and we're going to go right into it, everyone. Thank you, Patch, for the intro. Hey, yeah, so I made this presentation so you can get to know me and my climate justice work. So, yeah, this picture here you see is my dad's truck and his crew and community. I've been doing landscaping since I've been a kid. Grew up in Portland, Oregon. I'm Chicano, born and raised in Multnomah County, and I'm a leader in urban farming with the Vivian Barnett Fellowship. So the Vivian Barnett Fellowship was an 18-month program that I was honored to join. I brought in the Municipal Eco-Resiliency Project as a forming developing project to launch with the Vivian Barnett Fellowship. And so the Vivian Barnett Fellowship brought in like 18, no, how many people? Like 16 people of color. And we all had our own different cool projects. And recently we all graduated from the project like two weeks ago. So it was really great. It's really a project honoring Vivian Barnett, who was a Black woman who struggled with racism early on in the 70s in Multnomah County. And she is the reason we have a garden culture in Multnomah County. So yeah, that's important to mention. Yeah, this fellowship was garnered by the Black Food Sovereignty Coalition, Mudbone Grown, the Eco Trust, Oregon State University Center for Small Farms, the Multnomah County Health Department, and yeah, it was an amazing program that brought together all of us to become food system leaders in the region. And here's MERP. We're creating a business card or organization card. So there's our phone number, our email, the ways you can contribute, and yeah, operate in Multnomah County, community, urban farming, an organization for the People's Climate Justice Movement. And yeah, these are the principles that influence our organizing work with this project. And here's an overview of the stuff we're trying to do. It does need to be updated. So we have MERP in the center. We have a plant nursery project that was struggling with the heat wave, but we got a lot out of it. We have like these garden projects, and then we have a drafting organizer's manual, and also finally drafting a pamphlet. And here's some suggested projects people can help out with. We have an Instagram, Facebook, and these are the different projects or co-op gardens. And by the way, Patch really actually helped made this graph. So yeah. And here's another overview. This map we're forming, and click it if and when you get the link. So here are the projects in Multnomah County. These are co-op projects. And so we have the Rainbow Ranch, Casa Azul, Tabor Community Gardens with the Parks and Recs, House of Plenty, aka HOP, the People's Purple House, and Still Magnolia House. So it's a cool map we're trying to create to enlist all the projects, all the co-op projects with MERP. Come back to that later in the future. And then let's get to know the team. Yeah, Anthony is a facilitator for the Global Alternative Study Group. They've been involved since like 3 months, basically. And they did an orientation with MERP. And yeah, they're a really amazing comrade who also studied Marxist philosophy and urban agriculture at the University of Havana in the fall of 2016, volunteered at different community gardens in Cuba. And going to our next person, Kira is the co-coordinator. Yes, they're a transnational feminist queer Yanzi fourth generation settler of Japanese and Uchinaguchi descent. And their hope is to build up MERP for revolutionary movements. And now we go to Tim. And So yeah, Tim, who's on the Zoom with us, the events. Tim, I've known as a long-time comrade. They were like an office dispatcher. They help with like responding to emails and grant writing stuff. And going to the next slide here. So yeah, I brought up roles with MERP. So MERP has three forming roles to sustain organizational work. One, we have a co-coordinator, two, office dispatcher, and three, field dispatcher, which is hope I kind of opt into more after all these roles are fulfilled. The field dispatcher more so is someone who's helping with our forming urban farm program. It takes a lot of work to go around the whole city to do all these projects. So it's good to have a team, you know? And going down to the next slide. So yeah, what is MERP? We have the explanation, long term, short form and long form mission statements and the organizer's manual, which I just made its own slide, you know, and I'll just read the short form. The Municipal Eco-Resiliency Project is about expanding grassroots power and attaining more sustainable resources with marginalized communities as we build community power for food sovereignty to scale up to meet the scale of climate change before the year 2030. So I wrote that back in like 2017, and then it expanded to this long form, as you can tell, through participatory meetings where many people showed up and studied with the global alternatives and created what we have now as MERP. So yeah, MERP. Going to the next slide. So yeah, once a month we have these orientations. I host and facilitate so far. Hopefully someone can kind of take up that space to do, and I'll just take in more work outside in the field dispatching work. But we have our MERP October orientation coming up on Wednesday, October 29th. And we have our Zoom information. So we do most of it by Zoom, starting hybrid projects or hybrid Zoom meetings too. Yeah, so once a month, we have every last Wednesday of the month to have a formal contact with the organization. And yeah, so here's our first workshop at the end of the year. We're going to start building a community resource and food hub. And yeah, so we have a hybrid style workshop. Basically our co-op projects, guerrilla gardening, urban farming, flower, herb gardening, livestock, poultry, fish, source and supplies, and all, you know, we have supporting houses involved, mentioned earlier. And then we have the resource and food hub, which is where I am talking to you live out of right now. This is called the Still Magnolia House. We have an office here. We are building an office to do this work. And yeah, we have a whole garden, lots of garden projects happening here, and a food and resource pantry to store it all and redistribute to things we want to contribute to or share with, such as like participants with MERP, supporting houses, actions, share with communities aligned organizations and their projects and movements. So that's basically the idea. And this project, this workshop is going to be hosted by me, and we're going to talk about the various strategies of the history of radical movements who organize food programs, which sustained participation and built community toward revolutionary change. And yeah, and those who stay after the education part will start building this hub, if you will. Yeah, this year I graduated, moving to the next slide. This year I graduated I have this certificate of completion from the Oregon Native American Chamber. I graduated in their Oregon Native American Enterprise Program, which further educated me how to build a cooperative business, which is going to help create cooperative viability with participants who have EBT status, EBT benefits, and so they can get resources to their work as an organizer if they have EBT, and they have access to all these great garden projects around the city, as I showed. And if they bring projects to MERP, then they can have access to Casas de Tequio potentially, which is his own thing. And yeah, Casas de Tequio was inspired by Come Through Market. Come Through Market was a Black and people of color business that inspired me to create what I am now creating, Casas de Tequio, to support MERP. So yeah, these are all the stuff I'm doing. It's a lot of stuff. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I yield my voice. MERP, MERP.